Yamaha presents the Whitetail Diaries, chronicling hunting adventures of the most plentiful and intelligent big game animal in North America. Join top whitetail hunters nationwide. Embark on the amazing adventure that is hunting the whitetail deer.
You know, I think anybody that has an opportunity to do what we do and is serious about trying to grow deer and watch deer and pattern deer and enjoy deer hunting would really like the opportunity to do what we're lucky to be able to do. And by that, I mean we work on food plots, we have feeding programs, we field test cool stuff. And it's all in one name, and it's to go whitetail hunting. I mean, whether it's July and we're wading across the river to set up new stands and a new feeding location, whether it's August and we're turning over dirt and begin to prep food plots, whether it's 12 degrees in the winter, we like that, we love that, we're enamored by it, and we're always talking about new things we can do. We're always talking about new stands we can move, and we're always talking about new products that are going to be coming out, and it's an addiction. I mean, it is without a question. Not only is it a job for us in a lot of ways, but it's our passion. It's what we do, it's who we are. It defines us a lot of times, and I can't tell you how many mornings I'll get up and just drive out there 3 hours away to the main headquarters ranch and spend time just piddling on little things to try to make it better. And the reasoning behind it is to see the smiles on people's face when they harvest a big one, to see that excitement when they see a lot of deer coming out, and to see the reason why we're passing that deer, hoping to shoot him 2 or 3 years down the road. I mean, it's a big part of not only who I am, but everybody involved on our team.
We've spent the season showing how hard the Whitetail Diaries crew works in the field to be able to see the big whitetail bucks that we've seen. Now on today's show, we're about to get the surprise of our lives in the form of maybe our biggest buck yet.
You know, Steve has had some very incredible success out there on the camp. You know, he's taken good bucks with his rifle, he's taken great bucks with his bow. He's had a couple of mishaps that we'll talk about at a later date, but he's really had some great success out there. And he is a guy that we've enjoyed hunting with because he's learned so much from us, and we've learned so much from him about different things that are going on out there that he's become a part of the family. I mean, he's one of the first guys that's gonna grab a shovel or a hammer and fix things now. I mean, he knows what we're doing out there and he appreciates it. And so when we found this big deer, Steve happened to be the lucky guy in camp right then. And we immediately went back and set him up in a tripod overlooking what we call the honey hole. Now in the past, we've taken several good deer on the opposite side of the honey hole with a bow, but in this case, rifle season was open and this deer was running does, as were a lot of other deer in that area, and we felt like we needed to rifle hunt this deer and set up now and get ready, and hopefully this deer would show up.
All right, we're in the honey hole here early. It's warm, overlooking a big flat. A lot of success back here the last few years, and it's the first time it's been hunted this year, so we gotta get settled in real quick, get quiet. It's pretty still out here, so gotta make sure we don't spook anything, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot of good stuff. We'll see how the morning unfolds.
The honey hole has a backstory. I have a lot of personal experience, both ups and downs in the honey hole, but coming into this hunt, we were gonna have weather shifts, and we had to first sit in the morning at the honey hole was like a muggy, foggy, warmer day. And unbeknownst to me, we were looking for a pretty cool, just unique, born and bred and grown on this property deer that the Wade and Jeff and the guys have been seeing, but weren't sure we're gonna show up. He was a regular, and we were waiting to see maybe that deer come in. They hadn't told me about it yet. That morning, being as warm as it was, we actually didn't see as much as you normally would in a honey hole sit. There were still deer everywhere, mind you, but A lot of young 2.5-year-old 8 points and things like that, but the deer, again, that I didn't know was around didn't come in. So we got out after, you know, being in there for several hours. When the time was right, when we were going to spook game, we got out of there and we started making a plan for when we were going to get back.
When the Whitetail Diaries returns, the crew gets a better look at Steve's buck. The Yamaha Whitetail Diaries is brought to you in part by Yamaha ATVs and side-by-sides, real world tough. Cabela's, it's in your nature. Garmin, the power of simple. And by Nikon Sport Optics.
Get lost in the hunt, not the wilderness. Hunt with Garmin. First light doesn't come easy. It never has, and it never will. The sun hasn't risen, but you have. And the chill in the air seems a bit colder this year. First light may not come easy, but when it only comes once a year, it can't come early enough. Danner Boots, an American tradition since 1932.
Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. We're at the Whitetail Diaries deer camp with Yamaha's Steve Nessl, and he's targeting a deer that's popped up on their Stealth Cam scouting cameras. But the crew is itching to get a closer look at this deer.
Had an interesting sit this morning. A little warm out. Some animals coming through, no shooters. So, time to make a plan for the afternoon.
We get back from the honey hole that morning and we know that the weather's going to change pretty drastically that night. There's a front coming in. There's going to be a strong north wind the next morning, and we want to give the honey hole a rest. It hasn't been hunted leading up to this hunt, I think, at all. I'm not sure. We'll have to check with Wade, but I think they'd let it rest pretty much all season to this point. And they don't want to just go in, you know, multiple times and start beating down on it, and puts a lot of pressure back there. So we're going to do something different for that night, and then probably just scout it in the morning. But in the meantime, I'm now made aware that there's this stupid cool deer back there who we've got scouting cam pictures of from when he's in velvet.
As happens in any hunting situation, deer, a lot of times that you pattern, that you look at, they just become ghosts, or the neighbors take them. And you never even sometimes know what happened to them. And then there's other deer that you look at that you think, oh, that's a good deer, but you don't pay that much attention to. And there was one particular deer all year long that I kept noticing at a 2,000-pound on-demand protein feeder that we've got set up that we feed 20% Antler Max protein at. And I mean, we pour it to this feeder, and it's an area that we don't hunt, and then the deer just kind of move out from there. But this one deer kept showing up there every night and eating, and he kept getting bigger and bigger, but I wasn't sold in what I was seeing, that he was a deer of caliber that was just gonna be one we wanted to target.
We're gonna go back in there and make sure that he's there, hopefully, because the rut's going on. You don't know what's gonna happen with deer. I mean, you can't pattern them anymore, and he may have chased a doe. He may have lost that time. So we're gonna go see if we can see him. But we're not going to hunt there for a couple hunts. So our plan is to go back in the next night after the weather's changed and after the deer have a chance to start moving a lot. But in the meantime, we send Justin from camp in there with a camera the morning before the night hunt to see if he's going to come in.
Well, while they wait for confirmation from Justin that this buck is at the honey hole, the guys are going to do some work on the property.
Working on the ranch, that's a never-ending thing when it comes to deer hunting. We're right in the middle of deer season right now. It's gonna be moving stands. You know, we're constantly moving stands to change with the deer that are patterned, big deer, little deer, whatever deer we want to shoot. Right now we're gonna try to move this green box blind, which is actually a camera blind right here. So we'll see how this works out. Our philosophy, is to really work the property to get the maximum benefit out of it, to do the things that we think we need to do to grow big deer. And it's a multifaceted philosophy. We really work hard on our feeding programs. It allows us to bring in more deer. It allows us to grow better antlers. It allows our deer to be in better shape. And we rely on a lot of our Purina products for that. We feed Antler Max 20% protein almost religiously year-round in certain spots. Now, we don't hunt over those pre-choice feeders. I like those to be a sanctuary. I want those deer to feel comfortable to come in there and eat like they would if it's a food plot or a farm field or whatever it may be. Then we supplement that with stands all around it that'll have timer corn feeders, in different locations to help enhance that, not only for our whitetail, but for our turkeys and our quail and other species of birds that we just like to watch. And by doing all that, we've really maximized what we can do with the land. And on top of that, we really have taken a lot of pride in building new food plots, which create more hunting opportunities. And that's an area that we really focus where a lot of our stands are now. And Cabela's has a whole lot of new implements and tractors out now that we're putting to the test out there and really turning over a lot of dirt. And the exciting part of that is it's going to enhance our property tremendously. Getting out there and turning that dirt is something any landowner or any leaser wants to go do, and it's something that we're really religiously doing. And being able to create those new opportunities where we're going to set up and hunt and know that it's helping our herd is something that I get excited about every day. In fact, I spend more time now looking at the Weather Channel waiting for rain so we can have better food plots. And as we look towards the future, when we start moving our tripods around and moving our stands around and just checking all of our scouting cameras and knowing what's coming in, that's what we do. And when we find a big deer, when we find the right deer that's at the right age, we get really excited.
After a long day in the field, Justin has returned with video confirmation of Steve's deer, and the guys can't believe their eyes.
This particular deer that we're gonna target on this hunt with Steve Nessl is a deer that I grossly misunderestimated. I mean, without a question, I probably misestimated this deer when I first saw him in the scouting pictures by as much as 20 inches. But when Justin climbed up in a stand doing some scouting and came back with his eyes about as big as dinner plates when I just saw the biggest deer I've seen all year long and showed me footage, I knew we needed to hunt that deer, and we needed to hunt that deer right then.
When the Whitetail Diaries returns, Steve heads out after this homegrown bruiser. When looking for a supplemental feeding program that is power-packed with ideal amounts and ratios of vitamins and minerals, for superior antler density and strength, think Purina Antler Max. To find a dealer near you, visit antlermax.com.
Experience High-Vis, a brighter sight picture than standard sights, giving you an immediate, more successful shooting performance. High-Vis lets you see a dramatic contrast between the target and the barrel for a more intuitive aim that delivers instant results. Our light pipes come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors, designed to be seen in a variety of conditions. With our broad line of sights, you'll see your marksmanship dramatically improve, bringing more fun and confidence into every shooting experience. Shoot more accurately. Enjoy the sport. Choose High-Vis.
Julie Goloski, Smith & Wesson Consumer Program Manager and World Champion Shooter.
Joe Zanetti, Smith & Wesson Finishing Specialist and lifelong hunter.
Jim Dalton, Smith & Wesson Master Gunsmith. I shoot competitively, and so does my son.
Our people, our products, our passion. Smith & Wesson.
Faster. Smarter. More powerful.
The new ZX7 processor from Stealth Cannon. The game has changed.
It's for those who get up early on weekends and those who'd rather rough it than take it easy. It's for those who know it's not just a sport, but a way of life. The new Food Saver Game Saver vacuum sealing system keeps food fresh up to 5 times longer with a rugged design and 12-volt adapter cord for easy use in the field, ensuring your game and fish is fresh when you need it. The Food Saver Game Saver vacuum sealing system. Fielded fresh, sealed fresh.
The Yamaha Whitetail Diaries is brought to you in part by Thompson Center Arms, America's master gunmaker. Smith & Wesson, made in the USA since 1852. High Viz, shooting systems by North Pass Ltd. Danner Boots, an American tradition since 1932. Well, we're on the Whitetail Diaries deer lease with Yamaha's Steve Nessl. All year long, the Whitetail Diaries crew's been working hard on the property, and they've spotted a buck in the area that will make it all worth it.
Well, it's been a couple sits since we've been in the honey hole, but we've had Justin in there with a camera. The morning of the evening, we're planning on going in, and so we come back into camp, meet up with Justin, we throw his footage on the TV, and there he is. There he is, living, breathing, in the flesh, and he's every bit as cool as these guys have told me he is.
And I looked at that deer and I thought, wow, I misunderestimated that deer, and look at this tine and look at that tine. And yes, I had scouting camera pictures of him, but I mean, none of that could do this deer justice on how big he truly grew up to be. And when he turned those heads and gave us all these different looks, and you saw all these tines coming up here, it wasn't a question in my mind. I was like, Steve, grab the rifle, go to that stand, and sit there until the plane comes and takes you home, because this is a big one, and he could be the biggest deer that we've taken on this piece of property.
All right, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We got good weather the first time in the afternoon for about 2 or 3 weeks. We're excited about seeing the deer move. So now it's time to go get settled, and see just how they move. We get there in the afternoon and we get settled pretty early. It's cooler, 30 degrees cooler than just the day before. We start seeing does right away. Then there's bucks, small bucks in the field chasing those does. Then a dark rack 2.5-year-old comes in and just hangs out and feeds, and then starts chasing does. Then another dark horn deer comes in and chases does. There's deer everywhere in the field. Probably, I don't know, there's probably 2 dozen or more. There's one buck that comes in, has only have a horn on one side, doesn't even have a pedicle on his left side. Before any of these deer came, we had an 8-point, a crazy big body 8-point walk through, just left to right across the field, had an agenda for sure. I might have thought about shooting him, but he was, he was gone.
Man, that deer got across that field in a hurry. He's a big body deer. Looks like he's a true buck, but like a deer. He's a big 8. He didn't spend any time in the open at all.
So we're sitting there watching all these deer playing with each other, maybe not playing all that well together. Obviously the bucks have an agenda, the does aren't that keen, so there's chasing going on. And then again, for some reason, and this happened the first time we sat in the honey hole too, all the deer just blew out. They just took off, they flagged, and they were gone. Every single one of them. And now we're looking at an empty field. It went from a field full of deer to a field of nothing.
Well, we got another hour. How's that for an optimistic outlook?
I totally thought our hunt was done. I didn't care. I mean, it was a great sit. We saw all kinds of deer. Didn't see our shooter buck, but I try not to get expectations like we're going to go get our shooter buck in this particular sit. So yeah, I settled in. We had another hour of light. I figured there'd be some does come back in or something. We'd see more action, but when they all leave the field like that, yeah, you're kind of done. So I take a little bit look off to my left because I see something, and there he is. I can't even, I probably went from 60 to 70 beats a minute to 120 just like that. So there he is, and when I saw him, he was probably at 40, 50 yards, but he was angling away, and I swear if I could read his mind, he would have been thinking, where are all the deer? I mean, he comes into this field and he's the only deer. It was only 3-4 minutes after every deer left the field, he walks in all by himself.
When you spend so much time out here working on a piece of property like we do with this team, I mean, this particular deer is you know, the fruits of a lot of people's labor over several years of coming out here when it's 110 degrees and coming out here when it's 20 degrees to make these things happen. And you know, we're hunting low fence with heavy pressure around us from neighbors that don't practice necessarily everything that we do, but it shows that if you dedicate yourself to a project, what possibly can happen. And when you see a deer like this come across the field and raise his head up out there and you see all those tines, it will make your heart stop, then it will make it rapidly increase, and it will make your palms sweaty, and it will make everybody grin, and it will make any human make some funny mistakes when they go down to go hunting.
When the Whitetail Diaries returns, Steve has to make a quick move if he wants to take this buck.
"5:30 a.m. doesn't come easy. It never has, and it never will. It's fueled in determination and an unfiltered dedication to uphold your part of the bargain. 5:30 a.m. doesn't come easy, but knowing that others depend on you. 5:30 a.m. can't come early enough. Danner boots, an American tradition since 1932.
I hold the spot-on advantage. And there are a million more like me, using spot-on to build confidence in shooting, farther and with more precision than ever before. The next generation of shooting accuracy has arrived. Join us.
Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. Yamaha's Steve Nessl has the biggest buck of deer camp in his crosshairs.
It was a clean miss. I mean, ridiculous. And I can second guess myself and try and think of what I did, but in the moment I needed to get the job done. So I cycled the bolt and got another one in the chamber, took a second, took a breath, and I let the shot go. I was all of a sudden, I mean, immediately second guessing myself on whether or not I'd even hit him. And then if I'd hit him good or not, because I just missed, took another shot, and he actually trotted out of the field.
I can't believe he came in all by himself on the left. Every deer left this field about 4 minutes before he came in.
If you're a hunter and you don't get excited and you don't make a mistake, something's wrong. If you haven't missed, something's really wrong. You're probably lying. And in this case here, you know, Steve's set up there and this deer comes in from the left to the right, and I can only imagine what goes through his mind when that deer turns his head and looks, and it won't stop. You know, I mean, it won't stop. And this deer's just keeping it going and keeping it going and keeping it going, and you know it's this massive buck out there. And when it finally does stop and you pull the trigger and all it does is turn and look at you, I guarantee you, you're gonna probably start shaking right there. And most people would just go rack, boom, rack, boom, rack, boom, and dust will be flying behind it, and that deer, all they're gonna see is his tail running away. But I give Steve credit that he missed and recomposed, and you couldn't have walked up and placed that shot from that TC any better when he made that next shot. And the end result was tackles and bear hugs and high fives, and people were just getting excited beyond belief on a beautiful whitetail buck.
Look at this guy. That is awesome, man.
Look at that.
I don't know how to describe him. I mean, is that just coming up his brow time?
He's a biggin. He's a biggin. That's how you describe him. Look at that.
We're all excited. We're sharing in this thing. I mean, I think Wade's as proud, if not more proud than I am because of what he's done with this piece of property, and to have this deer come from right here, perfect end. It was so cool.
It's ridiculous. He is awesome. He's so cool, it's not even funny. He's awesome, awesome deer.
This guy's a stud. He's so cool. He's so cool, and a little bit of a roller coaster, but we're done with the ride. He's definitely going on the wall.
Thanks for watching. Join us next week, won't you, for another exciting entry in the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. Want to win a hunt? It's simple. Find Whitetail Diaries on Facebook and click the like button. You can follow along with Wade and the crew in the field and be eligible to win tons of sponsor giveaways and your chance to enter the Win a Hunt with Wade Middleton sweepstakes.
He's so awesome.
You know what'll make you miss sometimes? Oh, this stuff up here.
That's a freaking big one.
Congratulations, man. Give me some.
That's a mounter there.
I know.
You
I know.
done right.